And I call the member for Fowler.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. As the House knows, education is very important to my community in Fowler and, of course, across the country. But I think for migrants and refugee communities that are in Fowler, education, I cannot emphasise enough how critical it is. And people would recall, I constantly speak about how when we were in refugee camps, when my mother chose Australia, she told me, my late mother, she told me the reason why we chose Australia was because it had the best education system in the world. So that was how we came here, settled here, and I have benefited from our education system. So I do want to start by acknowledging the government's efforts. It is a start, but I think we need to be honest. Like it should never have been taken this long to recognise that students, families, and educators in my community have been shouting from the rooftops for years. For decades, successive governments have lost their way. They have failed in their most basic duty to build the skills and provide the knowledge our young people need to thrive. In my electorate of Fowler and across Greater South-Western Sydney, we see the consequences of this neglect every single day. For our community, university has not become a gateway, it has become a finish line that is moving further and further out of reach. We have allowed a system to take root where the path to a better life is increasingly determined by your bank balance rather than your potential. For too long, our priorities have shifted. It became about international rankings and protecting balance sheets. Somewhere along the way, equity, access and opportunity were relegated to the fine print. And in that process, a silent and cruel understanding was born that if you are a disadvantaged student, you're simply condemned to a tougher road. Why is that the case? Deputy Speaker, a student's postcode should never be their destiny. Whether a young person grows up in a leafy inner city suburb or in the heart of Western Sydney, quality education must be a right, not a privilege shaped by a postcode. Now I recognise the intention behind the Australian Tertiary Education Commission. Long-term planning is good, but in Fowler we have seen commissions and task forces come and go. Without a real accountability, there's a risk this commission becomes just another layer of expensive, camera-based bureaucracy, well-intentioned on paper, but disconnected from students' lived realities. Look, in the 4 years that I have been in this parliament, I've heard the government and the ministers speak confidently about how well they understand the struggles of Western Sydney. And the minister should understand. He regularly talks about that he grew up and, went to Cabramatta Public and Canleyvale High. So he knows Western Sydney. But understanding isn't the same as solving. Measures like the 20% HECS debt reduction are held up as proof of action. But for families in Fowler, that is a brief sugar hit. It hasn't changed the day-to-day grind. Students are trapped in a vicious cycle. They chip away at their debt, only to watch it climb right back up through indexation. While the government talks about distribution, inflation and interest rates are moving faster than relief. Yesterday, the Prime Minister spoke about how the government distributed the benefits of Stage 3 tax cuts. Well, if distribution is the measure of fairness, I ask how exactly is equity being distributed to the communities that need it most? Because in Fowler, students aren't just studying. They're working long hours while trying to maintain a full-time load. Fowler is ranked in the top 12% of the most disadvantaged areas in this country. For us, systematic barriers are not just an abstract concept. I've told this House about young people in Fowler and their struggles and how they are contributing to their families. Take Kimberly, a constituent of mine. Kimberly hits her 25 weekly Opal cap just travelling from Cabramatta to campus. She spends $120 a week on food. She contributes $125 a week toward her family's electricity and water bills. She does all of this while working part-time and keeping up with her studies. For Kimberly, the choice isn't between degrees. The choice is between education and survival. Deputy Speaker, if we are serious about equity, we must be honest about the policies that undermine it. I agree with the member for Kooyong that the job-ready graduate schemes must be reversed. As this House knows, I've introduced my Fair Study and Opportunity Bill twice to confront this injustice. Under the JRG scheme, the cost of humanities and social science degrees more than doubled. This isn't just a policy failure, it's a social one. It punishes students for their academic interests and creates a debt trap for those pursuing careers in teaching, social work or community services, roles that are really critical to the health of our society. If this commission is to be more than a bureaucratic exercise, it must confront the JRG legacy directly. It must set out concrete options to fix what is clearly broken. The success of this bill won't be measured by reports or frameworks. It will be measured by whether a student in Fowler can realistically afford to finish their degree without being crushed by debt. That is the test of equity. Anything less is just more rhetoric. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.